All right, so I went back and I touched mine up, made sure everything was nice and clean. Used my pencil as a way to kind of go in there with the carves. Made everything nice and smooth. So fun. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take our big brush and go ahead and get a little bit wet, tap on the paper towel, and we're gonna paint all of the outside terracotta. So this really pretty orangish brown color. Be sure you don't have too much paint dripping off. And you maybe give it a 1 minute or 2 minutes to dry a little bit once you're done actually cleaning up your coil vase. And be very gentle whenever you paint. You don't want to push too hard, and I'm just kind of painting in a side-to-side motion. I'll paint this top lid, but I'm going to actually keep the center or the inside part, the gray from the clay. So I'm just going to get the top lip and come in a little bit, but I'll leave the inside that dark gray, and be very careful. Just kind of working my way down, painting side to side. Again, you can use your plate and turn so you're getting all the way around. And if you see any bumps with your paint, just go over it to smooth it out. And again, I'm just using more of a side to side motion. And they do have a terracotta colored clay, but sometimes it tends to stain my hands for a while, so I'm just choosing to paint with this really pretty terracotta. It's natural kind of color, really pretty. And again, I gave it a couple minutes to dry before I went in there and started painting my vase. And it's just a decorative piece. You are not gonna be able to really put in the oven, so you don't have to worry about putting it in the oven. And it's just air dry clay. You can put things inside of it, just be very careful. But it's definitely more of a decorative piece than a usable piece. In a moment, if you wanted to add dots to your terracotta vase, you can. You can use your small brush or the back of your big brush to make dots. We definitely want to make sure we cover our vase on the outside with this terracotta. And I'm just kind of painting it nicely side to side, kind of slanting my brush a little bit, getting into those little areas. You can use your small brush to kind of get into those little creases if you need to. Going all the way around. Getting in nice and neat. With time permitting, if you had time, you could paint the inside of your vase. For this class, we're just gonna paint the outside for now. But again, if you have time, it's okay with your teacher, you can paint the inside of the vase as well. Oops, excuse me. Just kind of continue to paint all the way around. The very bottom part, I'm not gonna paint the bottom part where it's touching the wax paper, just all the areas that you can see on the outside. go back and make sure I got all the grays. And again, if you wanted to, you can use your small brush to kind of get into those smaller creases. Make sure everything's nice and smooth. And before we put our white dots on top, we do want to make sure that we've given this really pretty terracotta color a couple minutes to dry. Again, don't push too hard on your brush. You don't want to peel off or scrape off any of the clay. And I do like to go back and give it a nice second coat by going around one more time and touching it up. Getting that top part so you can kind of see the sides a little bit more. I'll use my small brush in a moment to get into those small areas. Right down. Just a little bit of paint, tap some off so you don't have too much on there. You can get into those creases a little bit better. Be very careful, just gonna move your brush in all the directions. And if your paint is kind of coming off, you can let it dry for a couple minutes and then go back on top of it. It means it's just really wet and it keeps moving. So if you wanted to build another layer on top and the paint is moving, just give it a couple minutes to dry and then you can build on top of it again. And in just a moment, I will show you how to add those white dots. But again, maybe give your terracotta a couple minutes to dry before you add the white dots on top of there. Oops. And it does take about a good 24 to 48 hours for the clay to be nice and dry, because remember it's air dry clay and you won't be putting it in the oven, it just naturally dries. And again, it's more of a decorative piece, so it's there as a design versus having a use for your terracotta vase. I'll wash my brushes. For the dots, I'm going to use the back of my small brush, but you can also use the point of your colored pencil if you want. You just have to make sure it's really clean. So if you wanted to kind of water it down and wipe off the sides, but I'm going to use the back of my small brush. And usually I would give this a couple more minutes to dry, but for the sake of the video, I'm gonna go ahead and show you the next step. The back of my small brush, so not the bristle, but the back, I'll dip it into the white paint. Not too much, you can always kind of dab some off. And where the coils are that go in that round shape around my vase, I'm gonna make dots. So don't push too hard. And do your best to kind of leave the same amount of space between each one. Oops. All I'm gonna do is push down on my back of my small brush. And remember, the harder you push, the bigger the dot becomes. So if you want the dots to be around the same size, just go ahead and push. I've got a wet spot right there, but Just the same amount on the back of your brush. So I'm going all the way around, like so. Wipe off the back of my brush. The next set of dots, I think I'm gonna go between each one on the next layer down. So between each dot on the second layer of the coil coming down, make a dot. And you can continue to do this on the bottom coils too, or if you just want to leave the top part with dots, you can. But this is definitely a good place to start. So again, it's up to you if you just wanted to have these dots or continued on the bottom 3. It's artist's choice on that one. Touch up these bottom ones. But again, before you are done, just double check, make sure everything looks nice and clean. If there's anywhere that you wanted to kind of touch up, just be aware of any wet, shiny spots with your paint too. But it's a really cool coil pot with terracotta paint. And it's acrylic paint that we use today. It usually dries pretty fast. There is your cool creation. Awesome. Thank you so much, artists, for joining us. I hope you had fun creating your pot or your vase, and hopefully we will see you soon.